Now here's something new, videos specific to legacy citations, and a special welcome to new Safety Committee member and Citation 5 owner, Indra Holen. But first, let's take a look at a situation that can happen in any airplane.
396 Delta Mike, Wichita Tower. Fly runway heading to 3000, passing 2000, turn left heading 100. Winds are calm, clear for takeoff.
6 Delta Mike, runway heading to 3000, passing 2000, left turn 100, cleared to go. We're light and it's cold today, so let's see. Percent. Brakes released. Power set, airspeed's alive. 80 knots. B1, rotate. Positive rate. And 2000, we're going to go left turn. Flaps coming up. There's 2000, left turn.
396 Delta Mike. You've got traffic left 10 o'clock, 1,000 feet high.
6 Delta Mike's looking for the traffic.
Contact departure 13485.
3485, 6 Delta Mike. 3485. And departure 6 Delta Mike is with you?
6 Delta Mike, say altitude.
Oh, 6 Delta Mike. 6 Delta Mike is descending.
6 Delta Mike, you have traffic 12 o'clock, 1 mile, level.
2 Delta Mike, looking. Plane down.
Traffic, 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 traffic.
6 Delta Mike is now at 3,000 feet.
Roger, 6 Delta Mike.
Descend. Descend.
Upon landing, I need you to call this number, 1-800-297-3107.
6 Delta Mike. Dang. Managing power, especially on that first scenario you just saw, is quite a challenge, especially if you're coming into your first jet. We're here today at Flight Safety San Antonio in a Citation 2 simulator, and our guest is Mr. Indra Holen, who is a CJP Safety Committee member. Welcome, Indra.
Thank you, appreciate it.
And you transition, I know you have a Citation 5 now, and a Citation 501 before that, but let's talk about the transition you made from a Commander 690 when you transitioned into the first jet and saw the the operational challenges of operating a jet. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was quite a humbling experience, David. I had flown Twin Comanches, Cessna 340s, Aero Commander, and had about 2,000 hours when I first came into the jet. And I remember my very first takeoff in the jet, which was a Stallion conversion. So it had the Williams engines, light airframe.
Lots of power.
Lots of power. And we were coming out of Tacoma Narrows in Seattle. And we had a 1,500 feet level off with a turn to 270. And I pushed the power forward. We go down the runway. Acceleration was brisk. Rotate. And 4,000 or 5,000 foot per minute, and pretty soon we were doing a 0G leveling out maneuver and turn at the same time. And of course, the next thing that happened was we were breaking the 250 speed limit. And my instructor was, just laughing and helping me out. But, the speed and the power and the need to control that is one of the biggest challenges when you come into a jet like that.
So on the video, in the scenario we just did, I got distracted. I had immediate turn. I had a traffic situation, and I lost basically situational awareness. I kept the power up, and I was way behind the airplane. Can you talk about how to reduce some of that workload?
Well, first of all, what you have to realize is when you step into a jet, you end up having more workload naturally because you end up flying departure procedures and arrival procedures because you're flying faster and higher and you're mixing with the big guys. So there's just more workload naturally. But what I've learned to do by experience is that as soon as I rotate and get to about 500, 600, 700 feet, flaps come up, maybe not if it's a complicated departure procedure, you just pull the power back to 80%, And that gives you a nice, comfortable speed, and the airplane doesn't accelerate. And then you fly your entire departure procedure or whatever you are doing. And then when you get the climb to altitude, you can power back up and get the airplane to do what it's supposed to do, which is to fly fast and high.
So when we keep that thrust up on a departure, we're just aggravating, we're adding workload to the situation by having to work twice as fast.
Completely, because some of these airplanes on a good day, if you lightly loaded, you're doing 4,000 to 6,000 feet per minute. You know, I used to come out of Fargo a bunch in the winter, and you get unrestricted climb to 28,000, and you see 6,000 feet per minute, and things happen just fast, right? So you don't need to fly a fast airplane fast. You want to fly it fast when you have it up at altitude, but you don't need to fly it fast.
You know, one of the things I've seen in my trips to flight safety and doing training is doing approaches, for instance. If you are 20, 30 knots fast, you're just doubling the workload. If you slow down and fly the appropriate speeds, then everything, it's almost slow motion. Everything the checklist runs easier, all the maneuvers, everything you have to do.
Well, that was another challenge of coming into the jet from a turboprop is just managing the whole descent, because poor approaches actually very often start much earlier. And one of the things I had to learn was to get the airplane slow down to below 200 knots at 10,000 feet or so I can get a notch of flaps in, so you have speed control, and then gradually make sure that you have level off altitude where you can get the airplane to gear speed, so that by the time you hit the approach area, you are configured at, you know, let's say 140, 150, and you're nice and slow and have control over the speed. But there were a few times in the beginning where you're just bombing down into the area, and all of a sudden you got to use the speed brakes and all kinds of stuff to get control, and it's not necessary if you just plan ahead a little.
Yeah, we seem to think that getting home 5 minutes earlier is some big deal, but it's not a safe operation.
It's not a safe operation, and I do not like coming in to the approach area and feeling like you're behind the aircraft, and now you got to catch up, and there's traffic here and traffic there, and you're just behind. It's much better to just get the drag in early and get slowed down.
Yeah, good point.
And when you're a twin Cessna or a turboprop pilot, all you do is pull back the throttle and the airplane decelerates immediately. Well, this takes a little more planning. These are slick airplanes, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Great point, great point. Talking about speed, let's talk about a night departure over a body of water or dark, no lights on the ground, and how excessive speed can cause a real situation.
Yeah, no, it's difficult, and I've flown a few departure that if I were to think about them at night with dark or IMC, it would be very challenging if you fly it fast. For example, I've flown the Milwaukee departure out of Chicago, out of one of the airports in Chicago, and 1 mile after you take off, you got to make a 180-degree turn to the right, and you got to stay within a certain turn radius.
Right.
And if you fly that at full throttle, at least in the 5.1 I flew, you would be struggling to make that happen. And you have the risk of spatial disorientation because everything is happening so fast, and your level off will pull you forward, and you have the chance of feeling like you're tumbling, and all kinds of bad stuff can happen. So much better to just throttle back, leave the flaps in, tiptoe around the turn, make sure everything happens, and then you can put on the power later on.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice. Hey, we appreciate you being here. It's great to talk
it's great
with
to
you.
be here.
All right.
Safety it's got to be first and foremost for all of us.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys. Our legacy members are a valued part of our association, and this is fantastic safety information. Be sure to go to the safety tab on citationjetpilots.com. Until next time, fly safely.